What's going on, fellas? Lost and Found Dating Channel. Back at it again with some more hotness this week. Now, before we get into this week's video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you guys will be the very first ones to know when I come out with new content. You feel me? Alright guys, so in today's video we're going to be talking about the availability hierarchy and how you can use it to gain a better understanding of where you stand with a woman. So you may be asking, what is the availability hierarchy? And this is a term that I came up with that basically refers to how a person prioritizes or the hierarchy they have as far as how available they make themselves to the person or the people that they're dating. So my goal for this video is for you to be able to walk away with a better, more clear, more thorough understanding of where you stand with the woman that you're dating or even the woman that you're looking to date based on how available she makes herself to you as far as going on dates. So for this example, for this demonstration I should say, I want you guys to picture a pyramid, and that pyramid basically represents the availability hierarchy. Now, what are some signs that you're at the top of that pyramid? What are some signs that you're a woman's number one option, her number one priority as far as dating? What are some signs that she's placing a high priority and spending time with you and making sure that she's finding time in her schedule in order to do so? So some signs that you're at the top of that pyramid is that the woman is going to be initiating dates with you. So she's going to be asking you, whether it's texting you or whether it's calling you, when you're free to go out to spend time with each other, to go on a date. So the idea is that she's trying to secure a date with the guy that she's most interested in first going into the week. That way she can plan some of her other arrangements, some of her other social plans or things that she's planning, some of her other dates as well. She can plan those around spending time with the guy that she's most interested in going out with. And for her to do that, she has to be a little bit more proactive than reactive. So she's going to take it upon herself to ask you, if you're that guy, when you're free to spend time with each other, when you're free to go on a date. Because the idea is for her, there's no guarantee that you're gonna ask her out, right? So she has to kind of take things into her own hands and reach out to you and initiate and ask you when you're free to go on a date. Maybe she has a high level of interest in that guy. Maybe he's super busy and super productive during the week, or maybe it's even a combination of two. So the idea is that in order to secure a date with the guy that she's most interested in, the guy who's at that top of that pyramid, who has the highest as far as her availability hierarchy, she's gonna reach out to him first and try to set up a date or set up plans with him. Now, let's say that guy happens to be you, and let's say you're the guy that's at the top of that pyramid, the top of that availability hierarchy. The way in which she's going to ask you out or look to set up a date with you is going to be in a variety of ways. So she might say something along the lines of, when are you free this week? Or when are you free this weekend? Or when are you free next week? Or she may even say, hey, when am I going to get to see you again? Or when are we going to see each other again, right? So the idea is that she's kind of placing the ball in your court and saying, hey, I want to see you. When are we going to get together? Another possibility is that she may even have a day in mind where she knows that she's going to be free and she wants to see you. So she may ask, hey, what are your plans this Friday? Or what are you doing this Saturday? Let's link up or let's get together. And if the woman is saying something along those lines or some variation of those questions, there's a pretty good chance that you're at the top of her list, you're at the top of that availability hierarchy as far as whom she would like to make herself available for and whom she would like to spend time with. Now, I want you guys to understand that that availability hierarchy is dynamic, right? So it's always changing. So your actions and the level of interest and attraction that you maintain with that woman that's going to determine whether you stay at the top of that availability hierarchy or whether you start to regress towards the bottom. So guys, if you start to get lazy, if you start to get complacent, if you don't put that much planning in your dates, or you just stop putting in as much effort as you used to put, there's a high possibility that you might get replaced by someone else, or that she's going to start losing interest in you and you'll start to kind of regress down towards the bottom of that availability hierarchy. Now, some signs that you're on that second tier and maybe a little bit lower from the top of that pyramid are she's not really going to initiate dates. She won't necessarily ask you, hey, when are you free, or when are you available to get together? But whenever you reach out to her and you ask her when she's free or she's available, she's generally going to give you a very straightforward answer, and she'll let you know the days when she's available. And she's usually going to give you maybe 2, 3, or 4 different options as far as dates when she's available, right? So the idea is that she's not going to necessarily be the one to initiate the date, but she's gonna make it pretty easy for you when you ask her out. So keep in mind, guys, for that second tier, the biggest thing, like I mentioned, is you'll be able to ask her when she's free, when she's available, and it's gonna be pretty easy to set dates. She's gonna let you know what days she's free and what days she can see you, and then you tell her, cool, let's do Wednesday or let's do Friday. And another characteristic of this tier, from my personal experience and from what I've noticed, is that when you're at that hierarchy as far as a woman's availability, it's very rare that she's going to flake on you or cancel at the last minute. Very, very rare. Maybe once in a while, but in general, when she does cancel or she has to change plans at the last minute, she'll try and tell you the day before. Again, this is just from my experience. She'll try and give you a heads up the day before, hey, I need to reschedule, or she'll at least come off as apologetic that she has to, reschedule the date or move things around. So those are things that you want to look for. It's pretty easy to set dates. She makes herself available, and she's rarely, if ever, going to cancel or flake on the date. Now, so we covered that first tier, the top of the pyramid, the top of that availability hierarchy. We covered the second tier. Now we're going to cover the third tier. And some characteristics that you want to look for as far as that third tier is, of course, you're going to be the one that's initiating the dates. You're going to be the one who most of the time is asking her, hey, when are you free? When are you available? Now, the unique characteristic of this tier that separates it from the others is her availability on those dates is gonna kind of be sporadic, right? She's gonna come to one date, then she'll flake on one date. She'll go on 2 dates with you, then she'll flake on 1 date. So you're gonna see a lot more changes to the date schedule, asking if she can reschedule, asking if she can push things back to next week. So there's gonna be kind of some sporadicness as far as her actual attendance on those dates. Now, one key nugget and one super important piece of advice that I wanna share with you guys, if you're starting to notice that there's that sporadic attendance as far as dates, where she goes on 1 date, then she cancels, she goes on 2 dates and cancels, what you guys wanna do, and this isn't anything highly profound, I'm sure other people who talk about dating have mentioned this before, but you want to rarely schedule dates on Fridays and Saturdays with women who place you at kind of that tier as far as how available they make themselves to you. Now, why is it that you want to avoid scheduling dates on Fridays and Saturdays? Simply because those are the days where people's plans start to change, right? Let's be honest, maybe her friends reach out to her and they plan something on a Friday, and you originally had a date scheduled, but now her friends want to see her and she places more interest or value in making plans with them than seeing you. Or maybe a guy who she's more interested in reaches out to her and asks her if she's free on Friday and Saturday, and she's a little bit more interested in him, so she chooses to go on that date instead of going out with you. Right, so Fridays and Saturdays, those are when most of the social events are happening. That's when people's plans start to change. That's when her friends might hit her up, her family might reach out to her, or other guys are going to be around and they might ask her if she's free to get together. And it is what it is. Bottom line, when someone has that sort of priority or places you in that tier as far as setting dates with you and spending time with you, you want to be mindful of that, and the best way you can do that is to be proactive instead of being reactive, and now your Friday plans with her fall through, or now your Saturday plans with her fall through because she flaked at the last minute. Just instead, try to plan dates with that woman around those 2 days of the week. Try to avoid Fridays and Saturdays. Like, she's gonna flake on you on a Friday and Saturday. You give her Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Sunday. But she doesn't get Fridays and Saturdays if she's gonna flake. No sir, not at all. Guys, you reserve Fridays and Saturdays for the woman who shows super high interest in you, who places you at the top of that availability hierarchy. If you've gone on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dates, and she's consistently going on those dates and you see a high level of interest for her, you reserve your Fridays and Saturdays for that person. You don't give your Friday and your Saturday, the most fun during the week where you can sleep in and all that stuff the following day. You give those to the people who value your time and who aren't going to cancel or reschedule plans. All right, guys, so we covered tier 1, 2, 3. Now we're getting into tier 4. So what are some things that you want to look for as far as that 4th tier of availability? Well, once again, you're going to be the one who's initiating the dates, who's asking her out. But generally speaking, when you ask a woman out who kind of places you at that 4th tier of that availability hierarchy, you're gonna get a response, something along the lines of, I'll let you know at the end of the week, can I get back with you, can I check my schedule, and let you know in a couple of days. And in my experience, more often than not, you probably won't end up going on a date with that woman. Maybe she'll let you know, and there are times when that happens. But a lot of times what is going to happen is plans are just going to fall through, or if you're not kind of following up and asking her once again, she's not going to let you know when she's available, and you guys just aren't going to go out. Now, for that 4th tier of availability, what may happen, and I've seen this happen, where you ask her, hey, what's your schedule like? And she'll say, can I get back to you or let you know? And she may not set like parameters as far as when she's gonna let you know. She may just say, hey, I'll get back to you, or I'll let you know. And it's no big deal. You don't have to push her. You don't have to pressure her and say, okay, make sure you let me know. Just if she says, I'll let you know, I'll let you know. Now, she may follow up with you and tell you when she's free, but from what I've seen in my experience, sometimes she'll tell you the day of, right? So maybe she had plans that were originally scheduled, and those plans kind of fell through, and maybe there was an event that she wanted to go to, or something that she wanted to do, and those plans kind of fell through. So she may ask you at the last minute, let's say it's 12 o'clock, and she may say, hey, I'm free tonight, what are you doing tonight, right? And you see there's a difference there. It's not like the top tier where she's asking you days in advance, hey, what's your schedule next week, or what are you doing this weekend, right? She's asking you the day of, sort of throwing it on you, hey, are you free tonight, or what are you doing tonight? So what you may see is she'll reach out to you that day and ask you if you're free that day, right? And that puts you in a position where maybe you had plans, and the expectation is that you'll be able to kind of just drop what you're doing just to make an arrangement with her, or just to go on a date with her. So again, that's something that you'll see kind of towards the bottom, what I would call kind of that 4th tier as far as that availability hierarchy, where it's very hard for you to set dates a couple of days in advance, but you may get an offer to, hey, I'm free tonight, do you still want to get together? Or hey, I'm free tonight, do you still want to go out? It's kind of letting you know at the last minute, which you may be excited to have the opportunity to go on a date with her, but no one really wants to be reached out to at the last minute to try to set plans, right? We feel like our time is valued and appreciated when someone makes plans with us a couple of days before or the week prior to that. No one, man or woman, wants to be reached out to the day of or given a few hours notice to say, hey, I'm free, what are you doing tonight at 8? And last but not least, guys, we have what I call the 5th tier, aka the bottom, the very depths of the ocean where all the bottom sea creatures tend to dwell. And that is where you're gonna do all of the pursuing, you're gonna ask her out to go on dates, and she may flake 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row, and chances are you're just not going to end up going on a date with her for whatever reason. She's just not that interested in seeing you. Maybe she enjoys the conversations that you guys have, or maybe she enjoys being able to text and to be able to chat at a distance, but she's not really looking to actually go out and spend time with you and go on a date with you. That's the characteristic that you want to look for at that kind of 5th hierarchy. If you've been flaked on 3, 4, 5 times and she always seems to reschedule and it's been multiple weeks in a row, at that point I would advise you to just take your ball, go home, and search elsewhere for dates. I'm just being honest with you guys. But hey, the awesome thing about this is, I don't know if it's awesome, but I've been at all 5 of those stages, and you learn and you get a sense of, okay, what are some things that I'm looking for when I'm reading this woman, or trying to get a sense of how she sees me, and I've been down here and I've also been up here, and that's why I'm here sharing some of this information and some of these recommendations with you guys, because these are the things that you can look for when you're trying to read, okay, where do I stand with this woman, or how does she see me? Yes, you guys can read a lot of those things when you're on the date, and there's certain indicators, certain signals that you can look for, which if you want to learn more about, you can check out this video. But aside from that, one of the biggest signs that you can look for as far as someone's interest level in you and how they see you is just simply how available do they make themselves, right? If this is a woman who, whenever you ask her to hang out or get together, she texts and she's got rainbows and heart eyes and exclamation marks, and she tells you she's free Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, okay, then you know that she has a high level of interest. If on the other hand you text her and you can never seem to link up, or she always has to get back in touch with you or let you know what her schedule looks like, I'll follow up with you, then you can see that there's a contrast between those two stages or those 2 tiers. Hope that makes sense to you guys. Alright guys, so hopefully you guys learned something and were able to take away some information, some advice as I went through that availability hierarchy and went through those different tiers. And like I mentioned earlier in this video, make sure you keep in mind that availability hierarchy is dynamic, so it's constantly changing. As you go on more and more dates with her, you are going to have the opportunity to raise her interest and to ascend towards the top of that pyramid. But also if you're just getting lazy and kind of complacent and you stop putting forth effort, you're going to start to regress towards the bottom. And speaking from experience, guys, I've been at all stages of that hierarchy. I've been at the top and regressed all the way to the bottom, and I've also started from the bottom as well, shout out Drake, and then made my way to the top. So hopefully you guys learned a lot from this video. Make sure you like the video if you did enjoy it. Comment down below, let me know what you think about this idea of this availability hierarchy, and people sort of having different tiers of how available they are when it comes to dating. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you guys are gonna be the very first to know. You'll get that email right away as soon as we put out new content, and you can check out all the videos as soon as we come out. That way you have that competitive edge when it comes to other guys. You guys get me? See where I'm coming from? All right, guys. So I'm out. Catch you guys next time. Peace.